The show exclusively known as the voice of the Arizona Cardinals fan club, the Bird Gang.
Fitzgerald inside the 30, the 20, it's insane.
Now with your host, Earl Burnett, a.k.a. Kazual E.
Bird Gang on 3, 1, 2, 3, Bird Gang.
Welcome into the Casual House Bird Gang, Suns Nation. All of you sports fans out there, it is the Kazual Sportz Show on a Friday night. The last day of the week. We made it through another week. And a hectic week has been, but interesting at the same time. But you are listening to the Kazual Sportz Show. You are in the Kazual House. And if you want to follow us, go ahead and follow us on our 4 major outlets on social media. That is Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and our YouTube page. And don't forget to subscribe to both the YouTube page and our website at www.ksrnaz.com. You want to get these shows in front of you. If you missed the show, you want to listen to any of the wonderful shows on the KSRN network, go ahead and download the mobile apps, Android and iOS. Right there will be at your beck and call. Any of the shows you want to listen to anytime you want to listen to it. www.ksrnaz.com. And this show is brought to you by the good folks at CASA, court-appointed special advocates change a child's story. And that is our sponsor that continues to fight for the children in the foster system. And we need a lot of volunteers to do so. So we will continue to reach out and do that. And I am your host, Earl Burnett. And in the box next to me, the one and only Javon Adams, a.k.a., of course, J Love, which is his transformation name when he turns into the rapper. And he is joining me right now. And let me see if I got him here. Are you hear me? You with me, Jay?
Yeah, I'm with you, man.
Oh, okay, because I can't even see you on my screen. I'm like, what the?
Man, it's because I'm like that, dog. I'm here. I'm with you.
All right, man. I appreciate you. And let me see why I don't have my Zoom up for some reason, and I don't see you on our main screen. I see it. It's kind of giving me an issue here. So hold on a second.
Yeah, for sure.
But in the meantime, man, what is going on with this thing? It's so weird. We're having a few technical difficulties. Oh, there we go. Technical difficulties, but looks like we got it up and going now. All right, but anyway, these dang on technologies, man. One of these days I'll get this stuff down to where
it's a work in progress. It's always moving.
It's always moving. And but I appreciate you coming in again and spending some time with us again through this week, man, because it's been one of those type of weeks that, man, I mean, I can speak about this stuff by myself all I want to, but having somebody else to bounce it off of has been really, really cool. And I appreciate you again, man. And I know you always there. I know you're going to keep saying that. I get it. I know it, but I'm going to still say it. Thank you, bro, for coming in.
It's all good. You're quite welcome. Quite welcome.
All right. So let's go ahead and do what we normally do. When you're in that Kazual House, we find out what's going on around sports.
What's going on? What's going on? Yeah, what's going on? What's going on?
In the Kazual House.
All right. Looks like, of course, the NBA will resume playoffs on Saturday. We'll talk about that in a minute. Wanted to talk about a few of the comments from some people that have been, over the course of these few days. We've heard a lot of stuff, a lot of comments, a lot of people chiming in on the issues and chiming in on where we are today. The country seems like it's up in arms, but this is all necessary, though, right?
Yes, it is. It is necessary.
Right.
It is necessary because I'll be brief and be terse in my comments. It is necessary.
No, you're cool, man. Speak your mind. But I want to chime in on this. I kind of had a text back and forth with an old friend, of course, of ours from here, that coach that was here. Of course, the only one, Bruce Arians.
Yeah.
And he had some comments that he said when they interviewed him about protesting. And
Okay.
his comments was, protesting doesn't mean crap to me. He said it doesn't mean anything because it doesn't do anything. Protesting doesn't do anything. And I said, and I got to thinking about that. I said, I texted him. I was kind of like, his comments were, pretty strong. But then when I think about what he was talking about, he actually makes a lot of sense.
Okay. How so?
Because when I think about protesting, I look at protesting as a way of, it ends up a lot more confusion and violence and those things of that nature before anything else is being heard or seen.
Mm.
And that's kind of a lot of things come off that way when you protest. And innocent people end up getting hurt. It all depends on what you type. There's peaceful protest and there's violent protest. But the point that he was making, he wasn't trying to say that it wasn't right to go out and protest anything. He was saying that what does it do? Is it changing anything? You're in the wrong place trying to just walk around Washington or walk around a police station. What could we be doing other than that to get actual change? And that's kind of where he was going at. And I was kind of looking at that. I was like, you know what? To a point, that's actually correct because the NBA right now are trying to find ways. And when me and you talked, what was it, the day before yesterday when you were on the show?
Yes, sir.
We left that show saying we wonder what's next. What are they doing? Is it one game? You're just going to protest for one game? And a lot of things have transpired since then. And a lot of what you said has come in true. The owners got to speaking about what you were talking about, the money situation is going to end up a money situation, and it ended up a money situation.
Right.
But what they really were trying to figure out is what can they do to actually start change. What they wanted from the NBA. What did they want the NBA owners to do? And they were trying to say, like you were saying last time, we gave you this, we gave you that, we gave you this. What else can we do? Is what the NBA is saying. And when you think about it, what more can they do?
Well, all right. So that's kind of multi layers to this.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one is that yes, protests are not without value. And here's the reason why. I'll give you a historical reason, and then we can take it to something further. So if in the 1960s, when black people were really trying to say, hey, when Negroes were really trying to say that we want to be treated fairly,
Right.
we want to be treated fairly. So if we had gone in and we had tried to take what we wanted by force, those people who were on the fence would have just said, well, maybe those people on the other side are right. Maybe they just are. Maybe they are just violent.
Correct.
Violent.
Correct.
So the purpose of those protests, especially around that time, was to be able, if I'm going to peacefully say, treat me equal, treat me like you, and the people that hate me
Right.
are sicking dogs on me, and I'm saying, man, dog, what dog? Not not trying to, but man, I'm trying to ask you. I'm trying to have dialogue with you, and you're sicking a German Shepherd on me, or you're clubbing me in the head.
Right.
So what a lot of that did was it took those people that were in the middle, and it put them to the other side to say, well, how come we can't treat them right? What is just the different? What does the color of their skin mean to be able to treat them different?
Mm-hmm.
So protests do work. So protests also, if you're going in and what happens is people see protests and you have some of those people that will try to, they protest in downtown or wherever that might be. I'm going to go and I'm going to wreak havoc, and those people who are not for the cause at all.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you get. You get those outliers that end up impacting things and painting the narrative.
Let me ask this though. Maybe like I said, I'm not the one to be into the politics stuff. This is just not my forte. This is not what I dig into. I really don't get much into it. But let me just ask: when you talk about protest, the difference between protest and getting something on the ballot and getting something changed, those are two totally different things.
But they're not mutually exclusive.
Okay. So when you're talking protest, it just seems to me protesting just means I'm just getting your attention. I want you to listen to me. But the other part is here's the action that's going to change what I actually want change, and that's going into my councilman's office, my legislator's office, and all these get these people in the office together to join in and find out what my issues are and get it on a ballot and get it changed. That's the change.
protest comes in many forms. So you can be protest. You can descend upon the state capitol or city capitol, whatever that in the downtown of an area.
Okay.
You can also protest with making your disdain known
Right.
by emailing, by doing so there's all kinds of different types of protests. So yes, the form, whether it's a protest where we're marching on Washington or marching on downtown Selma or whatever, or
Okay.
downtown Phoenix, that's one way because you're trying to get attention to be able to get
Correct.
to try to get people to pay attention, and then so you're saying they're asking you because you're protesting. Why are you protesting?
Right.
You tell them why they're protesting, and then they go to you, Earl, and they say, "Well, Javon over here says he's protesting because of X, Y, Z. So because he says you're keeping him down, or because you're not affording him these rights, can you speak on that?" And then you speak upon it, and if you speak upon it and you lay out your reasoning behind the way in which you're conducting business,
Right.
and the world or the rest of the city sees how flawed your thinking is, then that can apply. Then that leads to more pressure. It's like going and saying, I want a bill put on. You can put bills on there. We've been allowed to vote,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, for for what in the '60s, right? So we were
Right.
allowed to vote, right?
Right.
Okay, thanks, dog. I appreciate it. But there's still been voter suppression. So there's been stuff that's on the back. There's laws that are on the books
Okay.
in terms of enforcing and saying. But what happens is they say, how can we do this to make sure that we can try to continue to have leverage and be able to have control? Let's let's rezone these districts. Let's do some redlining to be able to change this a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do this a little bit. Let's do this a little bit. And so all these things happen. So yeah, so the protesting by itself does not is not enough.
Okay.
Neither is trying to make sure that you're getting something on the books is not enough. But protesting is not invaluable. It definitely changes things. Especially think about the way in which people around the world are looking at the United States, because it wasn't just when the George Floyd thing happened, and it wasn't just, let's say, just for whatever simple sake of the argument, it wasn't just on a Thursday where we said we're not taking this no more, and then Friday we said, all right, we hope that because we got mad on Thursday that they understand. No, it continued. It
Yeah.
continued for days
Of
upon
course.
weeks,
Of course.
and so those are the things, and that protest that happened in Minneapolis, that led to the defunding of the police. Maybe that was, defunding the police. Maybe shouldn't have been happening, but there had to be change that needed to come.
Right.
So the protesting does yield fruit.
Well, yeah, yeah, definitely not going to say it doesn't yield anything, but it just kind of seems like to me it always ends up yielding. And it seems like this is inevitable when you want to protest. The inevitable is going to be confrontation. The inevitable is going to be
Yeah.
contention. The inevitable is going to be violence to a point almost. Because
Yes.
somebody's always going to disagree with what's being said. And somebody's going to always, come into like I said, disagreeing of what that, what, and have their say so or whatever. But I don't know. It's like, to me, I'm like, okay, how can these NBA players right now have the focus is on them right now?
Hmm.
The focus is the spotlight, their platform, and everything is as big as it's ever going to be right now.
Yeah.
So what can they do right now to invoke change? What I mean by change is like literal start the ball rolling. Let's get some things that we and a specific message that they're trying to get done. How can they get that message over to whoever they're trying to get it over to? And I don't think just standing outside of a building is going to do that.
No, it no, but that's a start.
Right.
So what did let's call it a protest. So what did the protests over the last couple of days? What have they done? They've shown a light on another light, and so it's man, dog. I mean, you know this. I mean, things don't. uh, I mean, just we'll take it down to the most meaningless thing in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I could run for 3 days in a row and think why haven't I lost 30 pounds?
Right.
Well, because it doesn't happen in 3 days.
Of
It
course.
happens with consistent effort. It happens with not just the running. Because I can run 3 miles and then I can go eat a double cheeseburger and drink a 32 ounce of soda.
Mm-hmm.
So it's there's everything kind of plays a role. So
Right.
you can it's debatable on the how important each role is, but each role is important. So
Correct.
what can the players do? Yeah, they I heard somebody say, yeah, because they wanted to, maybe they were misled in terms of reconvene the legislature in Wisconsin, and we want you to do X, Y, Z, and things don't change that way. So when you understand the way that things change, you can say, okay, so how can I change things? We've heard about them saying we're going to get people signed up to vote, even though there's a huge percentage of them that are not registered to vote.
Correct.
But we can do that. Okay, so once you really try to take on the pressure of that, it's like being a father. It's like being a husband. It's saying, man, I didn't realize it was gonna be like this, dog. So I gotta. You mean so I gotta. I can't just take off the father hat for 2 days and just chill. I got to be the father all the time. So once you take on the responsibility is yours to continue to raise awareness, to continue to be an example to those around you, because you're an example to them, and then it's this cascading effect. So yes, they have to continue to fight the good fight and not let this moment pass.
Do you
Because
think?
and it's not just about Black Lives Matter on the court. It's
Right.
about what you're doing in addition to that, and who you're talking to and influencing in your circle of influence.
Do you think it's the same as it was back then when Martin Luther King was protesting and Malcolm X and all those guys were doing what they were doing? It's not the same though back then, is it, that it is now? Even though racism still exists, yes, but some things have changed from that time to where we are today. And protesting, I mean, like back then, protesting was not peaceful either way you tried to do it when you tried to do it peacefully. Martin Luther King tried to do it peacefully. You're going to have casualties regardless when it comes to that, because you're trying to get something to be changed to stop, and something that, that's going on against your race or wherever you're trying to protest for. So it's going to cause contention.
Think of it this way: you can. I think that things have changed, but here's what has remained the same. What are you willing to lose?
Okay.
What are you willing to lose? So with NBA players, are you willing to lose millions of dollars? And I'm not the dude that says that you should lose millions of dollars. That you should lose millions of dollars. I think that you should be able to. You try to find that happy medium instead of sacrificing
all of your stuff. Yeah.
But so along with protests, if let's say you and I put together a group of 1,000 people, and we say we're going to protest peacefully. When you guys are walking, walk with your hands up, or walk with your hands out to your side, or whatever, so they don't think that you have any weapons. And you're walking down, and they sick dogs on you. And they sick dogs, because why are they sicking dogs on you? To demean you. Or why do they use club? Because we saw with some of these protests, these peaceful protests recently,
they got the National Guard coming.
There was all kinds of violence that ensued because of
that.
Oftentimes that was brought on by the police.
Okay.
So I'm standing there and they're walking up to me and I'm saying, I'm not doing anything, sir. Bang! And they hit me in my face. So why are they doing that? To get you to obey, right? But then it's also to send a message to those other people. So if you are if Tommy is thinking about coming down tomorrow and protest, he just saw me hit you upside the head. You down for it, Tommy? You ready to roll?
Right.
What are you willing to give up?
Right.
That's what it comes down to. So they're trying to scare you into submission. So so it was the same thing then. When you saw a German Shepherd, or when you saw people getting billy clubbed, when you saw blood streaming from people's faces. I'm sitting at a countertop in a diner, and I'm not hurting anybody, but you want to pull me off and yank me to the ground and so my head hits the linoleum. That is trying to deter people from doing it the next time.
Right.
So there had to be millions of people that were saying, man, dog, I got a family. I can't do that ish.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so it's the same thing today. It's what are you willing to give up?
Right.
What are you willing to sacrifice?
I guess what really gets to me is just how everything has to end up violently, and people are losing their lives coming out to try to be a part of a protest. I mean, then you start to invoke other idiots that walk around with long guns just shooting just because they can come down there because there's a crowd there they can come down there and do it for. Then you invoke the other people that just, well, this is a time we can start a riot and just start looting. I mean, those things seem to me look like protesting invites those things rather than do any good. That's just me. But I'm not saying it doesn't have any. I'm not saying it doesn't have any effect or anything. But I'm just saying if there's another way that these players or anybody that wants to get something changed, And the only way things get changed in our country is the only way we can do it is through the voting and councilmen and all the congressmen and all this type of crap. If that's the only way to change anything, then we should find a way to get that changed.
It's not mutually exclusive.
I'm gonna give you an example.
Mm-hmm.
If can you imagine if LeBron James in his local city says, I want everybody to come out and rally to vote with me and be part of his whatever to gather a vote, and we're going to march down and get our councilmen, our school board, legislation, congressmen, everybody involved in this and meet with them in a room and get all these votes to get this vote. You don't think that's going to make change?
But that's a protest.
Not necessarily. Is it?
Yeah, it's a protest.
If you reach out to people to come vote, that's protesting?
Yeah, think about what you're doing. What you're doing is you're not saying it's a mass grouping of people trying to do something to try to influence change.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's a protest. That's the nature of it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Like I said, I'm just trying to put the pieces together because I kind of see two different things. I mean, I think when you talk about getting people to come vote for you, I mean, I've seen people stand on the corners and get names and whatever and get a polls. You got polls that are going to be open up to come vote. You got to invoke those people to come out and come vote.
People are walking. I've been at the library when it was open, and so when you're walking in, they say, "Would you like to sign up for this?" No,
right.
That's just advocacy, right? So you're just trying to get people's. But if it was everybody come down to the library, that's different.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's different.
Okay,
that's different.
Well, Arians is taking a lot of heat, of course, for his stance on it, and it is what it is. People are going to agree or disagree, and the first thing they want to tag on somebody is because they disagree is that person's either racist or that person's whatever. But we know that that's not the case with Bruce Arians. We know that's not the case. I mean, the guy's been entrenched with the black community since he was very, very young, and he goes back to his own history about why he thinks the protesting is not productive because he was back in the 1960s when that all was taking place, and he was there, and he said he saw how it went down, and he just violence and more violence, and that's what he's seeing. And at the same time,
what happened as a result of those protests? They don't just happen in a vacuum. So what happened as a result of the protests and as a result of the speaking is all those things that the protests were part of the catalyst of that. So So that's why they're not invaluable. Now, if you were going out and you were protesting and you were going out and causing harm to armed force, to policemen, or doing some silly things like that, then you're not going to say, see, he was trying to keep me down, so I broke his leg. No, that's not how you're going to try to get, because what you need in I mean, you can research this, and this is true. I mean, we're 13%, if that, 13-14% of the country. So what do we need to be able to make change? We need white folks. We need white people to say, yeah, you're right, Jay. That is wrong for you to be profiled just because you're driving a nice car, even though you can afford it. You know what I mean? We need those people to be on our side. So if I'm
that's the key. That's the key.
Yeah, but that's what the protesting does. It raises awareness. What you're trying to do is raise awareness. That's the goal. Raise awareness to be able to then, once you have my ear, once you have my attention, now what are you going to do with it? And so if those people are being reckless and they're being violent,
there was a few players that were in that room when they were debating this whole thing, and they were and one of the players, I believe it was the kid from Boston, number 7. What's his name? Jaylen Brown.
Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, and he was like, okay, if we're gonna not play basketball, and we go back to our homes, our cities, or whatever, what are we doing when we go back to our homes and cities? Are we just gonna sit there? Or are we gonna actually start?
Post up.
Right, exactly. So his point was, his point and my point, and I think what BA's point is your face right now is as big as it can be right now. You are in the spotlight.
Yeah.
An NBA player can call his local legislators, mayor, council members, school boards, even congressmen, and get them in a room and debate their issues just like they just did with those NBA players in that one room. They can do that with their officials right there in some office somewhere and try to debate their stuff right there and there and get stuff put on the ballot and get things changed, because that city, every individual city can only be changed by those things.
Now, here's where I think here's where I think they're losing sight of something. Who has more power, Robert Sarver or Devin Booker? Robert Sarver, because he's the dude that owns the team, that owns the arena, that owns the blah blah blah. He's the dude that can affect change, right? He's the. I mean, so yeah, Devin Booker could say, "Hey y'all, I'm gonna talk to my councilman." But let's say, and I'm just throwing him out there,
Mm-hmm.
is that, but what if he's able to, what if he's a part of a protest that, we're it's a sit-in, or
Mm-hmm.
it's we're marching on the downtown. Great, cool, that's great, because that raises attention. What's going to happen on the news? They're going to be focusing on the protest. They're going to be interviewing people. All this attention is therefore raised. You're raising awareness. But
Correct.
then the next step is to say, so, Mr. Sarver, I would love to speak with you. Can you help? I need help. Can you help me? Can you help me to get, because you can, just because you're an athlete doesn't mean that an official is going to say, just because he loves your jump shot is wet, that he's going to put some bill on the,
Correct.
he's going to make some amendment, he's going to help change that way. They don't care that much.
Right.
They care about what you can do for them while you're able to
Of
throw a
course.
football,
Of
catch a
course.
football,
Of
run
course.
for a touchdown, etc. So again, what you have to do is, through your actions, through your peaceful protests, is to say, I need your ear. Can we meet? In
Right.
addition to protesting, everything matters. So
Okay.
that's what I'm saying. So that we it's not as if we're super far, but we're further than we were. But without those protests, again, look at the footage of that stuff. Look at the stuff that was happening in the 60s and 70s. Without those protests,
Mm-hmm.
that is what that's what helped us. That was a big help in terms of getting us there. Now BA might not have seen that, because BA's not freaking black. He's not. And so he's looking and saying, I don't see how that was helpful.
Right.
And so somebody else can look and say, well, damn, my aunt was attacked by one of those dogs.
Right.
She was there,
Right.
and from that coverage from her saying, I'm willing to risk this, that helped to get more attention, to get somebody to say, you know what, that's wrong the way they treated those people. Yeah, I'm willing to listen to you now.
Right.
Those are the things that we need. And you're not going to get that by saying, I knocked this dude out. Now will you pay attention to me? No. So then what they do is they take this boycott was, it wasn't as if it was planned, and I think the fact that it was more spontaneous than anything is definitely beneficial.
Right.
There's good things in spontaneity, and it's just a matter of trying to stay there, stay the course, don't lose your millions of dollars, use your voice while you have it, because as soon as you get injured and break your knee,
Right.
or you retire, you don't have that voice anymore. So use that in a positive way. But it's hard when you have all that responsibility on your shoulders to then try to harness that if you've never really tried to do it before this point.
Right. But it was definitely in their best interest to do more, to negotiate that they would not boycott the rest of the season, because the owners came
Oh,
out, and the owners came out,
yeah,
like you
definitely.
said a couple of days ago. The owners came out, let it be known, look, you want to do that. Now you're talking about, losing money for next season, and then the CBA would have to be, reconstructed,
Yep.
tore up,
Yep.
and redone, and then as a player you get blocked out, you get locked out until they can figure out that, and it's like, man, they would be losing pretty much everything almost to
Yeah.
continue. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
And
that's
I
just
gotta give
common
props
sense.
to it.
That's just common sense. You're not going to put your family at risk at the same time. And at some point, there's a medium, like you said, there's a medium where this thing has
Yeah.
to stop, and you have to
Yeah.
continue on with doing your job. But it's a tough
You got to give
situation,
props
man.
to. Not everybody is Colin Kaepernick. Colin
I know,
realized what he was
man.
doing
It was costing
once
him
when he
everything, man.
when he opted out of that contract. When he opted out, I'm sure that probably 90% of his brain was thinking, "Hey, don't opt out of when he opted out of this, they were going to cut him anyway, probably." But when with San Francisco to become a free agent, he was probably thinking 90% of him was probably thinking, "Nah, don't do it." But 10% of him was, "Nah, that's not that big of a deal.
Right,
I'm about to go and get this money." But 90% of them was saying, "Look what you did. Look at the spotlight that you shone," and
correct,
that was peaceful. And
right,
what and that did raise awareness. That did do some things, but it's with one person singing by themselves. It can sound beautiful, but if you have a chorus of voices, it sounds so much more beautiful.
right,
So it's that chorus of voices. It's the chorus. So think of a protest as each protest that happens as another voice to that chorus,
Right.
and that's what helps. As long as they are peaceful, because then you're just showing how beautiful your uh, your efforts are and how ugly the resistance is.
Correct. Well, I'm glad you came on. I mean, like I said, it's always good to get information, and that's always key, man. And I learn a lot. Like I said, when I met you and Ed and these guys, and all you guys and stuff, when I start talking to you guys about these certain type of issues, I learn a lot because I didn't grow up like that. I didn't grow up paying attention to that type of stuff because I always tried to block it. This is just me, and I could be wrong, and I'm not without correction. So,
Yeah.
I mean, coming up, I was always like, you know what? I'm not gonna let none of this stuff stop me from doing what I want to do. Yeah, they can tell me I'm black, and these white people can tell me I can't get it because I'm black. But you know what? I'm still trying to keep going around that because I don't want that to be my deterrent from trying to go after what I'm trying to go after. And I've always ignored it to a point. But now, I have to be educated. I have to understand what's really going on myself too. And as I'm picking up this stuff, I'm like, man, it's a tough situation, man. And I figured it out. It's nothing wrong with being ignorant. People think that means stupid. It does not mean stupid.
You don't know what you don't know.
Ignorant just means unlearned. You're unlearned in some situation. And a lot of these people that don't know about, like you talked about today, protesting, what that really could mean. A lot of people are ignorant to it, and Bruce Arians could be a little bit misinformed, or whoever it could be misinformed about it because they're ignorant of what's really going on. And there's nothing wrong with being ignorant. It just means you're unlearned. It doesn't mean you're stupid. It just means you're unlearned. You didn't get taught.
Exactly. And the way in which you approach it by saying that regardless of what the situation is, I'm going to forge ahead. That's the way you should think. But again, it's a matter of what you're also willing to do.
Oh yeah, definitely willing to try to
So,
help change.
and when I say willing to do, I didn't go. I'll be the first one to say I didn't go downtown and protest when all those things were going on. My son wanted to go down there.
Somebody did the work. Yeah, right.
I said, cool. If you want to go, then go ahead and go. But this is what it'll probably be down there. There's nothing wrong with that. So people use their voice in different ways. So it's the and this is the. I mean, it sounds like a cop out, but this is the burden that we carry as black people. I'm not gonna say black men because shoot, I know my wife wears that burden every day when she goes into work, and she has to, and she's a leader in her field.
Right.
So, and this is what I mean. It's the having to be perfect all the time. When white folks don't have to be perfect all the time, because when they misstep, it's they get the Bomani Jones thing. They get the benefit of the doubt.
Correct.
Whereas we mess up and it's told you. And there's a big difference to that.
Right.
And so it's having that mindset that you have. That's a great mindset to have, but it's also realizing that there are other elements
other stuff that I have to pay attention to. Help me be better. I'm always open to doing. I'm not going to sit on the lines and not fight. I'm going to do whatever I got to do to help change it. That's what we have to do. But one thing that everybody needs to understand is before you go fight something, you got to be informed about what you're going to fight for.
Yeah.
You have to have some information. You have to be educated on what you're going to fight for. And sometimes it takes you to sit down, listen to somebody, understand all of what's going on around you, and read up on whatever you got to know before you know, oh, that's the reason for me to go fight. And you got to know what you're going to fight for. You just don't fight because everybody's going to fight. You just want to be a part of it just because everybody's fighting.
Yeah. I'll break this down for you real quick. Is that if you're ever wondering, I mean, I'm going to use you as an example just because. So when you're thinking, yeah, I'm going and I'm focusing and I'm doing my thing and all this stuff, and here's what the issue is. It's the thought process from those people that are withholding opportunities from us in a general sense, in a macro sense.
Right.
And then when they give us a little bit and we say we want more, and they say, aren't you happy though? Aren't you satisfied? You had more than you had just a little bit ago.
Right.
Well, how come I can't have as much as you? I'm not a damn child.
Correct.
I'm an adult like you. There's no difference between me and you.
Right.
But they want to give you little bits and little bits.
Pieces at a time.
You should be happy with where you are. And it's those people that say, well, why should we upset the apple cart? We here where we further than we've ever been. Okay, so if they're at square 10 and we were at square 0 and they've given us 5 spots and they say, well, you're 5 spots further than you were, that's still not good enough.
Right.
That's still not good enough because those 5 spaces are whether you were speeding or whether you have a criminal past, when you turn your back, somebody not wanting to shoot you 7 times in the back because they say that they're intimidated by you, but the same person of a different hue of skin can do that, and they say, "Hey, man, come on, put the gun down, or
Right.
subdue your and all that." It's
Right.
that those are what those 5 spaces in this example represent.
Right.
So that's why I say that no, it's not good enough. It's not as if I'm 3 years old and you say, I just gave you, you just had a bowl of cereal, Tommy. You should be satisfied. No, dude, what are you talking about? I'm 45. He's
Right.
45
Right.
too.
Right.
We straight. We no. So that's what I'm saying. That's
Right.
that's what you're fighting for, is that equal footing.
Equal for, yeah, and
And
that
accepting
makes
nothing
sense. That
less.
makes total sense, man. It kind of makes you start to wonder, what are you protecting? Only give me 5 little bit at a time. What are you protecting? Why you don't want me to get up there? You
Yeah.
afraid of something?
I think I mentioned this to you. I said it to my brother when I was out in Cali. I told you about that, right?
Yeah, you did. Yeah,
Yeah.
about the
So it's the
voting
same thing.
thing.
Yeah. If it's so important, why would they?
Yeah,
Why would they try to keep you from it?
Here's another thing that went down in the sporting industry that everybody was waiting for. And I'm waiting to hear what you got to say about this, because I don't know. I'm gonna give you what I thought, but Michael
Yeah.
Jordan finally spoke out and said that he wasn't going to be silent. And when he did speak, did it yield what everybody wanted it to yield, or did it just yield like a man that's kind of a little bit up on the fence a little bit?
Uh, it's I guess it's got to be tough when you worth what, $1 billion, and then you
And you
also
got every
have
eye in the black community looking at you like,
yeah, it's hard because I guess you could say that you serve two masters, right? Because
Right.
you're a team owner, so
Correct.
you want it to be, even if you in your core you know that the Black Lives Matter, or again, the Black Lives Matter becomes the overarching arcing thing, but it's just about it's just about equality. So
Right.
you can call it Black Lives Matter, you can call it equality. That's what I probably just refer to it moving forward. But so the
Oh, that's
thing
a good
is,
idea.
so he's saying that, hey y'all, for one, I'm sure that he laid it out a little bit more succinctly, and coming from a black man is easier. So coming from somebody that looks like you, at least, and is the greatest player of all time, it's easier to accept him saying, "Look, man, I get it. I'm just telling y'all, y'all know I'm an owner. I can't deny it. Y'all walk out of here, y'all leave. That collective bargaining agreement will be ripped up.
Right.
Some of y'all making millions of dollars, you won't be making millions of dollars again. I can
Right.
guarantee that.
Right.
What can we do while we're here to be able to try to do to accomplish the goal? We can't achieve it overnight. If you leave tomorrow, ain't not, I mean, it's still going to be there. We can start to continue to make efforts to be able to try to get this ship turned in the right direction, but it's not going to happen overnight. So you might as well just stay here and do what you can while we're here.
Right.
And that, as the young kids say, that hits different when it's coming from somebody that looks like you, as opposed to if it was Adam Silver even saying that, you'd be thinking, "Nah, man, you're not down with the cause."
Right.
But yeah, it is this that's the definition of irony when it's coming from Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So a lot went down in that room on that Wednesday night. Of course, when the Bucks decided not to come out, and that statement was one of the things that got the players to change. Nobody knows where that statement came from, but it does say one of the owners said it, and what he
yeah,
said was, your platform would be gone if you leave this bubble. Your platform goes with you, and then
yeah,
you had everything right here in front of you. You got everybody's attention. Your platform is right here in the bubble. If you leave, then you kind of give that up right now. And so they said an owner said that. Could that have been Michael? Could that have been, who knows? I don't know. But I'm just saying, like you said,
yeah.
it caused them to change their mind because, of course, the money was going to be the issue. And then being in this bubble still, and they still have a platform still where people can see them and their faces are on TV and they're still on the interviews talking about this thing and keeping it alive. So
I
that's
would
what
I
would
would
happen.
tend to believe that it would have to be Jordan in that case.
Exactly.
But again, it's one of those things. It's that the courage that it takes, and I don't care if it's just one game, because as an athlete, as a as a black athlete, you make a misstep, they hate you. They hate you.
Of course.
They quit to hate you. So, or you're not playing. and then they want to use every argument to say why you're worthless in the first place. You were worthless when you were playing. You're worthless even though you're not playing. All that stuff.
Right.
So yeah, so they're going to be able to make it as long as it's thought out, because you can run if you're running in the wrong direction. It doesn't do you any good.
Right.
So yeah, that's the big thing. But yeah, it's tricky. It's a slippery slope.
It is. There's a wonderful article that went up on ESPN.com that explained somebody was in that room taking down all this information, I guess, and got this information and what was going on in that room that night. A lot of stuff went down. A lot of people spoke.
Especially about LeBron, boy.
A lot of people spoke. A lot of people had a lot to say, and you can see. But one of the things that was interesting to me is that the Bucks took some heat from that room, saying, y'all didn't give us no warning. Y'all just bust out and stopped the whole thing. They took some heat. Then, from what I'm hearing about this story, it's a good story if you get a chance to go read it.
Yeah.
Giannis had to stand up for his teammates. Like, hold up, no.
Yeah, man, dog.
I said, I wish I could have been in that room. I wish I could have been a fly on the wall in that room, man. But it was really, really contentious. It was really up there. It was getting heated.
Yeah, because people are, how could you embarrass me? I think it was more so the Orlando Magic that was thinking, man, we was out there shooting around,
looking
and
stupid.
y'all was gonna let us keep shooting.
Yeah.
I mean, man, this is something that it was on our heart. I mean, sometimes the stuff is spontaneous, man.
Correct.
And it'd be different if they said, hey, 2 days ago, what we get to the arena, we're gonna let them go out and shoot around, and then we're gonna leave them out there, and then decide not to come out and play. It's a scary thing to it's a scary thing to do that. It's a scary thing. So I got to give them credit.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. Man, it's been a wild last few days, but we're going to try to get back to some of this sports stuff. When we get back, we're going to talk about some of these prospects that's supposed to be number one in this draft, but I don't see a consensus number one. Do you? Stick around, Bird Gang, Suns Nation. We'll talk some Suns when we come back. Kazual Sportz Show right here on KSRNAZ.com.
We're going to take a little break, but we'll be back in a while, so don't nobody go nowhere.
Alexa, who is the #1 radio station on the web?
KSRN, the hottest internet radio station on the web. If you have a podcast or have music and want to be heard, drop us a line at www.ksrnaz.com. The exclusive voice of the Bird Gang, your Kazual Sportz Radio Network.
This is the sound of a racing heart. It's beating a little faster because it belongs to a young child. But this child isn't in the middle of a close soccer game or playing with her puppy in the yard. Her heart is racing because she's just been told she has to move foster homes again. Change a child's story. There's a child waiting for a volunteer like you. Learn how you can help at casaforchildren.org.
This is Cliff Kingsbury, and you're listening to the second best sounding voice in the Valley, Kazual E, on the Kazual Sportz Show here on KSRN in Arizona.
Welcome back into the Casual House. It is Suns Nation's time. We're going to give a little last few minutes we got here to talk about what's to come with these Suns and these prospects in the draft. And I believe I got my man on the line that does a little bit of closet talk with me when he can't make it in through the week. And I got my man, the one and only Sean McC, the man that is not a stranger to this show, but is a stranger. What's up, Sean?
Man, what's going on? Closet Talk, back again, another week. I gotta say, before we get into NBA talk, man, I don't know if you heard, and I didn't catch the rest of the show, but our man, the Black Panther Chadwick Boseman, passed away today at the age of 43, and that just kills me, man.
What?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's new news to me. I didn't even know that. Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
wild.
So,
Man, it's kind of hard to
hate
get
bring
news
it-
like it right.
bring it with a sad note, but
Yeah, I know. That's like, oh, okay. He's like, man, what am I supposed to? Man, damn.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It is. Life is precious, man. It's short. I mean, ain't none of us promised to be here the next day, man. It's something else.
Yes, sir.
But on that note, man, wow. I mean, I know we need to talk Suns, and man, thanks for that information. Now I got to kind of go back and search that, and I
gotta process it.
Yeah, I got to actually
back
process
there.
it. That's the first I've heard of it. Wow.
Yeah, it was just reported just recently.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, and
Yeah, probably why you guys were on.
Lute Olson also passed.
Yes,
So
sir.
yeah,
2020 is just
it's just
not
weird, man. This whole thing has just been weird. You want to talk Twilight Zone, man? That's about where I feel like we are right now. But I mean, it is what it is, and we gotta just keep pushing on and going and adapt into what's happening around us, man. This has been crazy. I mean, I know everybody can attest to that. This has been one heck of a 2020 ride, man. I'm telling you, and it ain't even over yet. So. But
only
man,
up from here.
Man, I hope so for sure. And you can only start to try to force your mind to think positive and say that. Yeah, only upward. Let's go. Let's hope we can only go up.
Yes.
But man, the Phoenix Suns right now, Sean, are sitting in a pretty good spot, right? I mean, you would think from the draft standpoint, like right now, this number one pick. I'm hearing a lot of rumors starting, of course, and they're only just rumors of people talking because they ain't got nothing to talk about. That the Minnesota Timberwolves with this number one pick could be trying to entice that number one pick to get D Book to go to Minnesota.
1.9.
Cut this 1.9 stuff out, dude. Be quiet. Yeah, exactly. It's like,
I'll keep
that's
my
ridiculous.
1.9.
Exactly.
I'll take $1.9 billion Lakers roster. I'm all right with the 1.9 book versus that Lakers roster that no one can pay for.
At this point, sure, I'll take a 1.2 with the dang on prospects in this draft. I'm like, hell no. Yeah, but
might be the worst draft of all time.
I know.
Man, that's what you hear about this.
I had to do some serious digging, man, to try to even match us up with a prospect. And it's like, I know we're number 10. It's like, man, I got to do some serious digging to even feel that spot.
I feel like Snoop Dogg, man. Every time I see a name, who?
Yeah, exactly. Who?
Sure.
Who? And that's probably for me. It was after the first two names. Who? That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, besides Nico Mannion, but that's just because he's a local kid. Like that's it.
Right, that's it. Yeah, and does he fit? If just because he's a local kid, we just gonna get him because he's a local kid? Well, let me get you guys' opinion on this.
Hey, we know Sarver loves U of A guys, so we'll probably take a 22nd, 21st overall pick at 10. Just because he's from U of A.
Well,
so, we might have Nico Mannion.
If everything remains the way it's been going this last season with Sarver out the way and staying out the way, then of course
allegedly.
Exactly. Then James Jones is going to follow his protocol. He's looking for experienced guys that have been in the college game for at least 3 to 4 years. They don't want no 1 year and out type of guys. They don't want the 18 and 19-year-olds. He's been bypassing that. And he's going for those experienced guys that's got some years under their belt and some experience under their belt, which has worked actually. But when you look at this draft, I don't know if you guys have did any digging around these prospects, but I'm gonna start with just the first guy on the top that everybody keeps giving all this pub to, and that's the LaMelo Ball. I don't see number one pick. I don't even see superstar in this kid that ain't like everybody else sees. Tell me what your thoughts are, because I don't see it. What am I missing? Jay?
Not much.
Yeah, go ahead.
Not much, exactly.
I think it's the flashiness. I think it's just the fact that he's definitely a point guard that has he doesn't have a conscience when it comes to range. He definitely has a better shot, I guess, than his brother, for whatever that's worth. But but yeah, I think he might be. I don't know if he would be a number one in any other drafts unless it was that Anthony Bennett draft.
That's looks like 2013 to me.
Yeah.
Sean, what do you think about Ball? I mean, what's your opinion?
I mean, I'm more open to this Ball than Lonzo. That's for sure. But I don't know how much more it's saying because I keep going back to how AAU ball has kind of ruined the game, in my opinion.
Exactly.
And so, I mean, he's exactly a product of that.
Yes.
But, I mean, yes, he's a flashy point guard, and we all know my opinion is a flashy point guard. So I'd rather leave him than take him. I'd rather have a point guard that, get the ball to the players that need it. Steve Nash, he could score, but that wasn't his motto.
Right.
Right? So that's the kind of guy that I'm always going for, is a pass-first point guard.
Here's what I'm thinking. Take away the last name Ball, and what do you have? That's my point. Take away that, and everybody will actually see what this guy is, because the hype has got him where he is right now. The hype has him where his name and how the Ball name has gone all over the place, and pretty much given him the privilege to be this all of a sudden they're stars before they even do any damn thing. And so I see this kid as a player, and I've been analyzing, looking at players for a long, long time. I'll scratch the name Ball off the back of his jersey. I see a mediocre player. It's like I don't see a number one guy. The guy takes way too many bad shots, first of all. I watched him in high school. He's taking 50 or 60% of his team's shots from half court. What the hell are you going to do that for?
That's what both of you guys were talking about when you talk about AAU.
Right. Right.
You gotta if my son is going to play on your team, he can shoot when he wants. He can shoot
exactly.
the locker room, all that stuff.
They did that to build up his name, and that's why the Ball name on the back of his jersey is why he's so high in this draft. The kid is rail thin. First of all, I mean he's a flashy passer. I give him that, good passer, but I don't think his jump shot is all that great. It's sporadic. It's just as bad as his brother's. It just looks a little better, but it's just as bad.
It's all bad.
He can't play defense. I mean, he's not strong enough. And he got to get in the way. I know those things can be progressed, but what I'm saying is every guy at the top of this draft is a project to me. I don't see instant star that could come in and be an instant production guy on your team.
If you look at Valley of the Suns, they're talking about, when you talk about the Suns, they're Obi Toppin.
Oh, I love that kid offensively.
That might be there when they.
I don't think so. There's no way that kid's going to be there. There's too many offensive hungry teams ahead of us that can get that guy. I mean, Chicago.
Here's another name that kind of sticks out to me is Killian Hayes. The point guard is 6'5". That's a good start already.
Oh,
I like a 6'5" point guard.
Okay, you're going 6'5" point guard. What about the 6'5" point guard out of Iowa State, Tyrese Halliburton? Hell of a point guard. I mean, I looked at this kid on tape. I'm like, okay, good facilitator. 6'5", but he is real thin. 175 pounds at 6'5". He's really thin, but he shoots 43% from the 3-point line, and 67% of his shots are 3-pointers. So the dude can shoot the rock. So I'm like, okay, well, we can definitely use another shooter, and he's a good defensive point guard and a facilitator. So you got a long point guard, a long shooting forward, and a long power forward at the same time. And you got DA. We can turn into a defensive juggernaut like the Lakers are right now, a defensive team.
Dog, easy.
You know I gotta come there with it. But no, but when you look at these prospects, man, it's really gonna be a tough draft. I mean, what do you think, Sean, the best thing the Suns can do with this 10th pick? I mean, best thing they can do right now, because you know they're not gonna take a young kid. Are we packaging this thing up and trying to entice somebody to come get it? Are we moving up or down?
Nobody wants that pick, though.
That's true. Jay's right. No one's gonna want this pick in this draft.
Yeah.
Honestly, you gotta hope for what you have in Rubio that he's gonna be durable enough.
Okay.
And you gotta find yourself a long-term solution. Yeah, he's gonna be raw, but if you gotta get somebody with some experience, even if it's overseas professional experience, I'm not saying ball, obviously, but maybe this Killian kid out of France, someone with a little bit more experience at the point guard position. I think you either go point guard or power forward. You can't necessarily go best available here because you get another small forward. Are you kidding me?
Right.
We got too many of those.
Exactly.
We're stacked there. If you want to package some of them and the 10th pick for something better, maybe I'll look into that. But
right.
You got to go power forward, which is a need, or center if you're going to try and play DA at power forward and a point guard. Those are the two needs for sure.
Real quick, Earl. Do you think that you guys have? Because you mentioned, of course, you were talking about starting point guards. Do you feel that you have the backup point guard position at least?
Yeah, I think we got that sewed up with Carter and Cam Payne easily. And we getting Cam Payne coming back on the cheap. We got him another whole year. So, yeah, I think that's solidified.
He's excited to come back.
Exactly. Here's my thing.
It's rare these days.
Here's my another question. Do we shake up the lineup that we had in the bubble? Because, I don't think you want to tinker that or mess with that too much because you had good success with that. But you can't go into another season with the same team. You have to tweak it somewhere. Where do the tweaks come from?
Kelly Oubre, he's the tweak. He wasn't there.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I was along those lines, and I'm even though I'm a Laker fan, I do want the Suns to do well. I would love to meet in the conference finals every year. I mean, seriously, I'll be real about that.
Right.
But I thought when you looked at the parts of the team, I thought, wow, why can't they compete for a playoff spot?
Right.
Why can't they? Because when you have when you have the ability to if DeAndre Ayton had been suspended for 25 games, maybe it would have been different.
Correct.
But yeah, Oubre is that piece. I think, as Sean said, I think he is that piece.
Yeah, I think so too. I think I'm not going to call him odd man out, but I'm just saying the number 10 pick and Oubre had anything to do with this thing on run in the bubble and how good they looked on the court. But
Cam Johnson probably sends him a text, hey man, I just want to see how you're doing. Don't even text me.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I guess where I'm leaning toward is the power forward position. I mean, Dario came in there when he first became a Sun. He was a passive type of 3-point shooter. He finished in that bubble as I'm banging you in the paint. I do not care who's down there. I'm gonna push you around. I'm getting my way where I want to go. Now that's what we needed. So do we keep Dario? You got to keep Dario, right? You can't. I mean, to take him and get rid of him and let him go would be like starting all over again. You got the guy that you need. There he is. I think we got to keep him.
I don't know, Earl. I think there are some guys, we talked about this before, there's some guys that play different when there's no one around to watch you.
That's true.
Dario might be that guy, and if you can sell him high right now knowing that he is what he is, and once fans come back, he's not going to play the same, package him.
Okay.
Package
so
him.
now you got
get more out of it.
So now you got two
like
good
Johnny
pieces.
Gill in the shower. With the Vandals in the shower, put me in front of people.
So now you got two good pieces with Oubre, Dario, and the number 10 pick. You can't tell me that can't bring a good all-star to this team, power forward wise. So who is that?
Lakers will take that trade in a heartbeat.
Yeah, but for who?
You need shooting like Warren. It'd be dope if you had him on your team at some point.
Who?
Warren.
Which Warren?
He plays on the
cash considerations, Warren. That one.
No.
We already messed him up once.
We should have never got it. We should have never let him go to begin with.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I hear you.
My point.
Let me ask you. We only got about a minute or so left here. There's three names that will always keep coming up with this team. I'm just going to cancel two of them out. This is not going to happen. Aaron Gordon, I don't think it's going to happen, and Blake Griffin is too old. What about the guy that keeps being associated with this team as a veteran guy that has won a championship, knows how it's supposed to look, and Kevin Love?
I brought this name up.
Kevin Love. Kevin Love, to me, would be a perfect fit for this team. I don't know why, because he can shoot, and he's a veteran.
He can rebound.
And he can rebound his butt off. But the question is, can he still do it with the injury thing?
I'd rather have Serge Ibaka.
That's another good piece. I see that. I told that piece that you just said, Serge Ibaka, I told that to Steven on the show. He was like, I would like that too. Yeah, so that's a good piece.
I'll take Serge.
Yeah. But Serge?
Man, what you trying to get something? You got to feel something flashy about it?
No, it doesn't need to be flashy. That's the whole point. It doesn't really need to be flashy. I think a Kevin Love, even Serge Ibaka, a few other guys can fill that spot. I even think to me personally, I think you keep Dario if you're going to play like he played in that bubble.
Look, man, Blake Griffin knows. You mentioned Blake Griffin. I'm not saying he would be. Blake Griffin can rebound and he can run the
On
point
one
if he
knee.
needs to.
On one knee.
I get it, but you get him dirt cheap, and
True.
he's trying to kick it in Scottsdale anyway. But
Get him dirt cheap.
in all seriousness,
Kick it in Scottsdale.
I think Blake wants to take more of a background role anyway. So this would give him
Okay.
the opportunity to do that, and just be able to go out and just work. And not be expected to do a whole lot. So that might be something.
One more thing, Sean. I know you got the closet might be getting a little hot, but there's rumors, of course, that the Suns are only looking at one guy in free agency next year. They talk about that being Fred VanVleet from the Toronto Raptors. Now, why would that be a move for the Suns if we have Ricky Rubio?
Durability. Straight up durability. We like what we have in Ricky. I mean, the floor has never looked better with him on it since Steve Nash, and I'm going to say that confidently.
Right.
But the guy can't play a full season.
True.
And James Jones wants a guy who can play a full season. Fred VanVleet has showed that, and I like the way he plays.
Yeah, hell yeah. He's like
a good move
a wrecking ball, dude. That little dude is like a wrecking ball. He can shoot. He can defend. He can, man. He's a pretty good dang point guard.
If you get him on the team, you got to get the sounder for every time he does a great play. He came in like a wrecking ball. That's what you got to play every time. Man.
Wow.
Oh my God.
You're welcome.
He already know we do all the soundbite stuff, so we got to figure out something like
that.
Know. Yeah, but all right. Well, I mean that's Suns talk, and it's going to be a lot. It's going to be really interesting to see what we do. Real quick, we didn't get any information about what the Cardinals' Friday scrimmage looked like, but we'll see it tomorrow on the Channel 12 at 8 o'clock. They're going to rebroadcast that red and white practice. In case y'all didn't know about that, but if you want to check it out, you can catch it on NBC 12 at 8 o'clock. Jay, man, Sean, guys, appreciate you coming in again tonight and finishing out the week on another lovely Friday. And Sean, man, be careful in that closet, dude.
You know it.
Be ready to do work next week, Sean. We about to do some major work next week.
Oh, sick. Okay.
Better not be more running.
Yeah.
Everything good with you, though, man? You sound like you've been wore out.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you.
No, wore out, man. I'm just, you know how it is, man. My youngest is starting to walk, so it's keeping me busy.
Oh, snap. So that's pretty cool. I know you got the pictures and the video taped out. All right, man.
Yeah, he's running around crazy now, so.
I'm going to let you get out of here, man, and get some air out of that closet, man. I appreciate you giving me a few more minutes. And hopefully I'll catch you in here on Monday, right?
That's the plan, man.
All right, man. All right, take care, bro.
See you guys.
All right, take care.
Sean is dope, man.
Yeah, I know, man. That's
Sean's dope. If he could have 18 kids in his house, he'd have 18 kids in his house. That's real, and he would love each one of them the same.
Every last minute of it, yeah. The only one.
I got 2 kids, and I don't love them both the same.
Right. Oh, come on, dude. I know you did not just drop that.
Some days I love one more than the other.
I'm going to replay it to them so they can hear what you just said, because I know you wouldn't say that when they was right here, would you?
Shoot.
No, I'm just joking. Tell everybody, man, where they can catch you, man, and the stuff you got going on right now. I got like a couple of seconds.
Every once in a while, I feel like I got too much stuff going on.
Oh, man.
But anyway, so I got Microphone Masters. Didn't have an episode this week, but Microphone Masters on WCNN and also on KSRNAZ.com. And then also Disposable Arts that is repurposed here on KSRNAZ.com. Recorded that. I'm actually mixing that one right now.
Oh, sweet.
So that's on liquid.net, Liquid Radio. And then do Believe in the Arizona Cardinals. That goes every Thursday. Of course, this week, because, of course, this week it goes on Friday. And then, of course, every Saturday it's Easy Sports Talk with the one and only Ed Smith. I'm just over there in the corner while he beats me up. And that's how it goes. And then, of course, I do a little bit of music stuff. And then I swear, as soon as I'm done with the show on Saturday, I get the stuff ready for the Focus to come back. So that's what's up.
All right, man. You got to do me a favor.
Yeah. I know. No.
No. I don't know.
I'm doing that though.
I don't know what your schedule is, but you got to get Star Saxon to come in with you one night.
Oh,
You got.
okay.
I would love to have him on one of these shows, man.
You gotta tell him not to curse because every time I get him on terrestrial radio or anything that is similar to terrestrial, I say, hey, just remember not to curse. All right, Jay.
Tell him to make himself available one day, man. That would be pretty cool to get him in. Because I want you guys together on Disposable Arts and Microphone Masters are freaking awesome. Freaking awesome. But all right, that's the wonderful, one and only Javon Adams, multiple job Javon Adams, J Love in the house. And you have been listening to the Kazual Sportz Show. I'm Earl Burnett, a.k.a. Casual. We will check you out next week.